What's up, guys, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about my Traxxas T-Maxx, and this the car that got me started in the hobby grade RC world. And I'm gonna just tell you how it started and what I did to it and how it got to the point where it's at now. So at my job, I had an older guy. He's a painter, and he was giving away a box that had a bunch of RC parts all in there. Yeah, it was a little bit together, but for the most part, it was just parts. I said I'll take it off his hand, and nobody wanted it. He said it was a nitro car. And, you know, nowadays everybody doing a brushless thing, so nobody really wanted it. Nobody paid it any attention, so I told him I'll take it off his hands. My plan was to build it up, you know, rebuild it as a nitro car, nitro truck. I got it home. He said it was a T-Maxx. So I got it home, looked up on YouTube, started looking what the T-Maxx looked like, and I started seeing the parts looking familiar. I'm like, okay. So I start building everything back up. It's a couple people on YouTube that just show you how to break these things down and put them back together, cleaning them up, taking them apart and cleaning them up. So I took advantage of people just taking them apart just to clean them up and stuff like that, and I was using those videos to put it back together. So I put it back together, and a couple parts that was missing, couple parts here and there that was missing. It was just regular blue, regular T-Maxx. Once I built it up and it was time for me to put the motor and stuff like that in there, I decided that I didn't want to go the nitro route. It was a guy on YouTube it's a lot of people on YouTube that shows how to do it, how to do the brushless conversion with the T-Maxx. So I was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and try that. So here's my version of the brushless T-Maxx. So first we're gonna start off with the Pro Line bow ties. It's some old vintage wheels for the T-Maxx. I mean, they 17mm hubs, so you probably could get them to fit on a lot of different things. But they just old vintage wheels, so they kind of hard to get right now. And since they so old, they're kind of unbalanced. The foam and stuff on the inside is pretty bad. That's why I put them on a T-Maxx versus putting them on any of my other vehicles. But don't mind the baseball dirt. Got a lot of baseball dirt in there from running. Regular silver back bumper. It was crazy because that thing was silver. You can't see it now. You can kind of see the shine on it. That thing was silver. If you got a T-Maxx or you know anything about the T-Maxx, that thing is like bone silver when you get it. I took it to my job and I threw a clear coat on it. And when I threw that clear coat on it, it turned that thing like chrome. Super shiny. So, yeah, that was crazy. The body, I purchased the body online. It was already silver, but it did have a clear backing, so you can paint whatever kind of backing you would want on the back. Front bumper, I did the same thing. It came in bone silver, and when I put a clear coat on it, it turned it like a chrome. It's real shiny. But as you can see, I did have a couple accidents up there, so she do look a little beat up a little bit. But hey, that's what that bumper is for. The washers, I used the washers in the body to help even the load on the clip, because a lot of times the clip will come straight through the body when you crash and stuff like that, and then you don't have nowhere to hold the clip onto the body. So the washers help that. I like to use the metal ones. Plastic ones that it come with is just fine too. But I do have a crack right there. That's a nice crack. So here we go. I'm gonna take this off, take the body off, and I'll be right back. All right, we back. So the battery tray, I try to find something big enough around the house, I really didn't want to spend the money on a battery tray because I knew it was going to be a custom build. So I didn't know what to go out there to try to find to buy. So I just went around the house and tried to find something to use. And what I ended up finding was an old Xbox power brick. And I took it apart and I used the one side of it. And I cut the 2 slits. I cut 4 slits in it. 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. And I went and bought some Velcro from Lowe's. Those 2, and I found this one at work. But you can get you some Velcro. And what I did, at first I just had those 2, and that worked out okay. But I'm gonna tell you how I got the battery tray down first. I drilled a hole through the chassis, and it's a nut and a bolt holding it on, plus some double-sided tape on the bottom of the tray. I did just have the double-sided tape at first, but it kept coming loose. So I added the nut and the bolt, and I haven't had any problem ever since. And I put some electrical tape along it so it just don't show, and it don't just be stabbing the battery or anything like that. So I did that. Battery tray stays up real good. At first I just had the 2 Velcro, and the battery, when I had the battery in, the battery would slide back and forth. Sometimes it would slide way to the back of to the front of the car. Like if I hit something, it would slide way out and be hanging out the front. So I put this strap on there around it, and that holds it from going back and forth. And then those straps to just really keep it. But the way the straps are, it don't even touch the bolt. The battery kind of like stays suspended up here, so that's a good thing. I have the original shocks. When he first gave me the truck, it had aluminum shocks for it. It had blue aluminum shocks. The whole truck, actually, I did over. From the beginning, when he gave me the truck, it didn't have the silver chassis. I actually did that myself. The bulkheads, I actually did that myself. Everything was blue when he first gave it to me. And this is a different chassis. This is the actual, the 3.3 T-Maxx chassis, the one that's made a little thicker, and it's longer. It's a little longer. It's the wider one. Actually, I don't think it's longer. It's just thicker. That's it. That's it. I'm talking about a different truck. I apologize. Yes. This chassis is definitely thicker than the original one. You can see, I think they say it's like 3 millimeters or something like that. But I got that to work. Everything was blue, and I de-anodized everything to silver. It's a trick. You can use the yellow oven cleaner. If you get you a nice pan, I bought, you know, one of those big roasting pans that people use to cook with. I bought a couple from the dollar store, and I bought some yellow oven cleaner. Gotta be the yellow oven cleaner. And anything you want that's anodized a certain color, whatever color it is blue, yellow, red, green, whatever color it is, and you want it to be back silver, all you do is put it in that pan, and you spray that oven cleaner in there, and you let it sit for a while. And then you come back later and you flip it over to the other side or whatever, and then you spray it in there and you let it sit for a while. When you come back, all that stuff will be off, and you just wipe it right off. I'm gonna tell you, it will be like a dull aluminum color. So if you get you some polish and polish it up, you'll get your shine back to it, and it'll shine like you want it to. But oh man, when this thing is cleaned up, it look beautiful. But I'll clean it up in the next video for you and really show you a little bit more. But I just had it out, and I just wanted to do this video. I'm sorry a lot of you guys seen I had a lot of videos up there, but something happened with my YouTube, and I had to start pretty much all over. So I'm not going to sweat it. I'm going to go ahead and get it done. But this time, I'm going to go more in depth in my videos, as you can see. And I'm going to try to get the quality up a little bit more and do a little bit better with this time. So moving on, I got a new servo. I bought a servo for it, bought offline. I have a Dumbo or Dumbork RC, Dumbo RC transmitter and receiver that don't have the gyro. I should have got the gyro. I might get that later. That don't have the gyro. So in the dirt and everything, this thing is definitely shit a little swirly. So Surpass Hobby ESC, that thing is 4S capable, but I only run this truck on 2S. I'll explain to you why a little bit later. Hobby Star brushless motor. That is a 4068 2150 kV. 34 tooth pinion, 72 tooth on a spur gear. So it's just stock spur gear. The reason I went with the 34 tooth is because my motor mount is not that adjustable. If you look online, there's a lot of people with these kits. T-Maxx brushless conversion kits, and they had 3D printed parts. It comes with a 3D printed motor mount, a 3D printed battery tray, 3D printed ESC mount, things of that nature, things that's 3D printed. And it's good. It's good. And I'm not knocking a hustle or anything, but that's if you want to run a little small motor or something that don't get too hot. You want to run you know, 2S, but maybe just have you gearing up a little bit more. You really can't go that much higher in the gearing than this. That's the reason why I went with this setup. That motor don't get hot at all. It just stay cool. But from my experience, with those plastic parts, especially on the motor mount, everything else probably be fine. Maybe the ESC too. But the motor mount would melt. And at this part right here at the angle, it would start sagging forward, or just, it start melting. And you know, as it's melting, it just start doing whatever it want, because that motor is heavy. And right in there, it just start creasing. And before you know it, you driving and your car just start acting weird. And you like, what the heck is going on? And you go look at it and your motor is just drooping. It was funny. So that was the end of that run. So I got home and went back to the drawing board, and I looked online and just was looking at different motor mounts that would fit a 40 millimeter motor. And I came across a couple of them, and I tried this one, and it don't have really too much adjustment left and right. It has enough, but not too much. So I was able to get the motor where I wanted, and I was able to go through a couple pins to get it to fit where I wanted it at. The motor mount is held on by those two bolts, and there's 2 nuts on them, with some Loctite, and they go to 2 bolts right there with some washers, and that it's been holding strong for a while. The transmission, if you watch a lot of guys do the T-Maxx conversion, a lot of guys prefer to have the black transmission. The transmission out of, I believe it's the first T-Maxx and the second T-Maxx. The third T-Maxx had the gray transmission, and that transmission doesn't have the kit where you could turn it into a 1-speed transmission, like 1 gear. Pretty much you turn it into a gearbox. You just take some gears out and exchange them for other gears, get rid of second gear, get rid of reverse and stuff like that. And it just turns into a gearbox. It's gear up here, gear in the middle, and a gear in the bottom, and that's it. And it's connected straight to the motor and straight to the drive shafts. You have to do that mod if you want to go fast. If you want to just have one speed to just do everything. You don't need reverse, and you don't need second gear or third gear, nothing like that, because the ESC, the electronic speed controller, that does everything. That does the drive, it does reverse, and of course it has brake if it has the reverse. So first it goes in drive, and then when you want to stop it, it'll go, you know, you brake and then the brake, and then if you keep going in the brake, it'll start reversing. So it and you could program it. A lot of ESCs are programmable. Some of them aren't programmable, but you could program them to do whatever you want. I mean, meaning do whatever you want, meaning it has different levels of acceleration. From maybe some ESCs got levels 1 to 5. Some of them is 1 to 12. It has a setting where you can adjust your brake. It has settings where you can adjust the drag brake. That's pretty much for like crawlers, if you want the brake to kind of stay on as you're driving. So if you coming downhill, slow down the hill as you crawling or something, you want your brake to kind of stay on so it don't flies down the hill. That's a good thing to have. It just has a lot of ESCs has a lot of different settings that you can tweak. And you could turn the reverse up and down, so you can have the reverse as strong as drive. Or you can have the reverse way down at 20% as drive. So it's a lot of different things to get into with the ESCs. Like I said, some are programmable, some of them aren't. That one is programmed. I did program that. The shocks, I like I said, he gave me the aluminum shocks to go with it. I had them for a while, but they was real leaky. They was leaking too bad. So I got rid of the shocks and I went back with the original T-Maxx shocks, all 8 of them. Oiled them up. I got them all spaced out the same. So my suspension travel is pretty good. It's pretty soft, just the way I like it. The wiring, so the ESC, my ESC, I have double-sided tape down. It's strong too. It's been there for a while. It's not going anywhere. I have the power wire comes out from right there, the ESC, and it comes out and it goes down. I got it running through the Velcro, and I bought these things online. These is like extenders. So the ESC wire stops right here, but I have it is a female connector, and it comes from right here, and I got it going all the way across, and it comes on the side of the battery, on the side of the receiver box, goes under the servo mount. I think that's cool how Traxxas made that little idea. I don't know if that's what it's for, but that's what I used it for, because I didn't go this far into seeing how people was rebuilding their T-Maxxes. I just went as far as building the arms, the bumpers and all stuff like that. Pretty much winged everything myself. And that one I came through there, and both of them go in there. Servo, both of them go into the receiver box. The hook's into the receiver. Yeah, got me a couple Traxxas stickers to deck it all out. I had one right there, but it started looking weird, so I took it off. Let's see. I definitely upgraded. I did some upgrades along with the aluminum bulkheads. I have the RPM tie bar right here to keep the bulkheads from closing in, and it keeps that supported. RPM arms on the top, RPM arms on the bottom, all the way around. There it is over on that side. Now you can't really see it because of the baseball dirt, but you can see it right over there. I had RPM arms on the shock towers and the body mounts, but man, when you go upside down, when these things wheelie and you go upside down and it tear up them body mounts, whether it's RPM or it's GPM or it's any aluminum or whatever brand it is, it's going to shred them things up, man. So I think those things are just pretty much for looks. If you want your truck or your car to look good, you go ahead and grab you some colors and some aluminum and stuff like that. But if you just out there bashing, the stock ones do just fine. Because when them things get grounded up, it's a lot cheaper to just go ahead and buy the stock ones all over again versus buying you some aluminum ones that just look good. I have on the ESC, it do have the setup where I can run 2 batteries, but I have it looped off right here because I'm only planning on running it on that one. So it's just connected with a Dean's T plug. I have the power wire, the power plug double taped to the top of the power box. That's not going anywhere. That's been there for a while. I just try to keep my wires away from the gears moving and keep them away from that drive shaft because all this stuff over here moves as the car moves. So keep everything over here kind of tidied up. Should have no problems. Motor wires go straight to the ESC. So yeah, I have, flip her upside down. I have the steel dog bones drive shafts on here, MIPs. I did paint them red. At first it looked good, but as I've been driving, because I just wanted it to be a shelf queen. I built it up real good, and it became pretty fun, but it was fragile at the same time. It broke a lot, man. I just wanted to have fun with it, man. It brought the kid out in me again, and I was just hitting ramps and doing all kinds of stuff, and it broke a lot. So I just ended up kind of retiring it and getting new cars, better cars, newer cars that was able to handle the beating. But I have the steel skid plate, the match, the chassis. It still has the Traxxas, it still has the Traxxas bumper up there. You can't really see it right now. I'll show you in a bit. But I have the Traxxas, what's that called? Chassis brace. Traxxas chassis brace. Traxxas top bar links. Pretty much everything on here is Traxxas besides the arms and braces right there in the middle. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Everything is pretty much stock. And the tires. And I do have, because the tires are the 17mm hubs, I do have the 17mm adapters down there. But other than that, man, this thing flies. Like I said, I run it on 2S. I have fun with it. I have a lot of different cars. So this car on 2S does just fine. When I have my cars out on the block, a lot of the kids come out, and the T-Maxx is the car I give to them to let them have fun, because I'm not giving them any other of the vehicles. Even though this thing is a pain in the butt to work on if it do break, and that's pretty much, like I said, why I retired it, because when it did break, it was a pain in the butt to work on, especially when you driving any of these models that's built with the knuckles like that, with the hubs. What happens is when you're driving, and if you have a hard impact, maybe on the front of the car, the back of the car, on the wheel, those pivot balls will pop out of the joint in the plastic on the top or the bottom, or maybe the bottom or the top, or sometimes even both, and the wheel will go flying. And you gotta have your tools with you to get that thing back on. And that happens pretty often when you crash with these things, man. And that's annoying. If you have to work on a differential, if you have to work on a differential, you see where it's at? So to work on the differential, you will have to take the bumper off. You gotta take that off. You gotta take the arms out. You gotta take the shocks off. And then you'll be able to pull the bulkheads apart, which means you got to take all of that stuff off. And you'll be able to pull the bulkheads apart enough to pull your differential out, and then you can work on it. So if you do it enough times, you'll find ways, little shortcut ways to not take the whole truck apart, where you could just finesse a couple things, get them apart, and then you'll be able to reach your hand in there, pull the truck apart, and pull the differential out like you dissecting the darn thing. And then once you're done, you could just, it's a pain in the butt to get it back in. A lot of times getting it out is a little easier than putting it back in, because it's 2 notches. It's like a little sleeve on the top of the differential. And it got 2 notches in it. I got to line up with the bulkhead, 2 notches in the bulkhead, and getting that, and it slides all over the differential. So it's a pain in the butt to get that thing to sit straight as you putting the differential, putting the whole thing up in there. So yeah, that's another reason why I kind of retired the truck, man. It's a lot to work on. And plus, I mean, it is a big brushless motor on an old nitro truck. So it's not built to handle that kind of power. It's really not. It's not built to handle that. The transmission, on inside of the transmission, the gears is plastic. It's a lot of plastic gears. And I'm not saying plastic isn't strong, because I have vehicles that have plastic gears in them that's running real good. But back in the days on these vehicles, on this plastic wasn't made that strong for running a nitro vehicle. They was meant to handle that stuff, man. So you throw that brushless motor on there, you gonna tear some transmission gears up, some drive shafts, center drive shafts. Yeah, you're looking at my center drive shafts. So let's get into that. The center drive shafts, I got some epoxy on there. So I had the center was the same on the front and the rear, but a lot of times that pin will come out on the drive shaft, on all 4 of the U joints. That pin, it's a little pin right there that holds the whole thing together. And that thing likes to fall out. And once that pin comes out, whole drive shaft falls apart. And that's what happened back here. That happened back here. But I ended up finding a way to get me a drive shaft that worked. I think that is the drive shaft off of the T-Maxx 3.3. That drive shaft worked. It's a fat drive shaft too, man. And so it do kind of rub a little bit back there on the chassis. So what I did was, you can't see it up here, on the back side. On the back side, you can see right there, I shaved it down just a little bit so it don't touch anymore. That those marks is from before, when it was rubbing, and I seen it was rubbing, and I said, oh no, gotta fix that before it eat through the drive shaft. Because that drive shaft didn't fit up there perfectly. I actually had to trim it up, cut it a little bit to make it fit the way I wanted to fit. And that's a couple tricks I got for another truck that I used. But yeah, that's the T-Maxx. I got a steel bell crank and servo horn. I got rid of the servo saver. I didn't really feel the need for the servo saver. Not anymore, since I only drive the truck on 2S and I don't bash it as hard. I just drive around maybe at the ballpark, have a little fun here and there. So that's fine. So with the drive shaft, when that happened to the rear one, I said, oh no. So I came home and I whipped me up some JB Weld epoxy, and I dabbed a little bit. Well, not a little bit. I dabbed a lot. I gooped that stuff all over on them pins because I didn't want that to happen to this drive shaft, because I really like, I'm trying to turn it for you guys. Let me see if I can. Well, I gooped it up there on them pins real good. It's starting to come off just a little bit, but it was up there for a while. There we go. Yeah, there we go. I covered that pin all the way up. And it's been up there for a while. It's been doing good. And yeah, I just didn't. I like the steel drive shafts over the plastic ones. I prefer to have them. I mean, look how small that drive shaft is. It fit up there perfectly compared to how bulky that one is. But guess what? That's plastic, so that one is definitely gonna last longer. But yeah, whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do. Flip this bad boy back over. So yeah, 20 kg on the servo. Got that online. I just wanted to go a little high because this is a monster truck, so I wanted to be able to turn the big heavy tires on her. But yeah, that's the T-Maxx build. That's the T-Maxx. Like I said, I run it on 2S, maybe even 3S sometimes. But yeah, it's a fun thing. I'll take you out. We'll do a run video. I'll show you how it runs. I'll probably do the video on 3S so it could be a little bit more fun for you guys. 2S, I just put it on 2S for the kids so they can get used to it. I don't want them hurting anybody. But yeah, hope you guys like it. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.